Is it there? Are we there? Are we live? Hey, look at that. Welcome back, everybody. It's Last Call.
What?
Hooray.
Yes, another episode in the books. It was good. We had a lot to had a lot to talk about. Not all of it was directly Georgia State, but I think that it all involves Georgia State in some way. So that's why I wanted to kind of hit on all those little topics and stuff. So
We can talk about the playoff because, I felt the committee was in a no-win situation, right? The thing they didn't want to happen happened, which was Clemson winning. They didn't want that to happen at all whatsoever. Then you're stuck with, okay, well, they have to let them in because that's what the rules say. Now you have SMU. I think the only reason SMU got in is because they made that huge comeback and almost won the game. If they had run the woodshed, they're not in. They would drop them out.
You can sit here and maybe you don't. People can say that Clemson doesn't deserve to go because they weren't good enough to go. But you know what? They were good enough to go. They did what they had to do to follow the rules to get into the thing, and their last chance was to win this one game, and they won it. So they get to go. I don't understand what the problem would be there.
Oh, the problems with what do they do with SMU and then Alabama and then Miami? They ran into that problem.
That's the concentration of power problem that we were talking about.
Yeah,
in the main.
So I think SMU played their way in. Period.
They could have lost and gone.
But they could have lost bad.
Or they did lose and go.
They lost and got in because they just dropped to the end of the list.
Yeah, Texas
and I mean they were a storyline all year. First year in the ACC, no money, and
killing it.
Absolutely came in there and killed it. I think that they were that's the success story they wanted to have in the playoffs, and then there just wasn't room for Bama to make it. And I think that I think Ole Miss got screwed more than Bama did. I think they had a better record, but whatever.
I think all of these rules are always going to piss somebody off.
That's what it is. It just shifted it from 5 to 12.
Yeah, well, but you do have to have. I do think the subjective thing is a good. You have to have a subjective weight on it. You have to have eyeballs just watching the game, being is this a good game, a good football team or not?
Right.
Because stats don't always tell you the whole story, and all these other things don't always tell you the whole story. So it does make sense. The problem is there's still all of these. I don't know. It's hard to say whether or not a Notre Dame deserves to be there, or if they just have the respect of the last 100 years of history behind them. And
they lean on that a little bit.
I mean, they get it a lot. But the good news for them is they do often go to the game and then put up a good show. So it's not like they're. I say it all the time that they're being overhyped, but they do often go to the game and play well. So
you can remember back to the BCS days when all the arguments would be what the fuck are the computers doing? They're dumb.
Yeah.
Remember, because it would be the computers ranking and then it would be the subjective ranking from the humans, and then they would balance each other out ish.
Yeah.
And, people would whine about the computers. So
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, there was all right, well, we've got 3 really good teams, and why is this third team not get a chance to play for something? If we go to 4, there's not going to be 4 teams that, there's not going to be 5 teams that are really, that we think are championship worthy. And then you have something like last year with Florida State getting left out, and all right, well, 12 teams, 5 conference champs. And, this should be, no one's going to be complaining about being the 13th team. It's going to, we have what we need.
Well, of course they would complain about it. But I think the much more reasonable football fans can look at that and be like, okay, that makes a lot more sense than just 4 out of 136 or however many stinker. That's not a very good football. That's not a very good playoff.
But more realistic,
12 is a lot better. So
I mean, 4. I was really okay with the 4. I mean, because realistically, your SEC, Big 10, and then Big 12 and Pac. Big 12 back when Texas and Oklahoma were in them. It was really going to be the conference champions out of those 4 teams, and there was not going to be a G5 representative really that would ever get.
Yeah, and now we get that much Cinderella
credit. Yeah, so you got it in there now. But so I was fine with 4 teams, but this is gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to watching it too. These games become appointment bowl games, so to speak. You know, like
I would love an away team that's in the first round to find a way to win the whole thing. Like all these buys, all your top 4 teams, all the nonsense about all that. You get one of the somehow SMU figures out how to win the rest of their games, right? Last team in. They just find a way to win their first round, second round, third round. Now they're in the semis, now in the finals. Like that would be an awesome storyline, and it would blow up none of the other playoff games matter.
Crap. Right. Yeah, everyone starts watching that one team. Like that's the game that everybody wants to see, whether they can keep it alive. I mean, it's only a couple of games.
Boise. I don't care. I want Boise to upset someone.
Yeah. Although it would be cool if Boise was actually able to Boise State was able to host a game.
Blue turf.
Well, I hate that turf, at least up there and like as cold as it can be in the snow and everything, having some kind of a home field advantage.
I want them to win one. But winning one only gets them to the semifinals, right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay. I want them to win at least one. I would actually celebrate a lot if they went all the way. I think that would be amazing. I think fans of smaller programs could get behind that and be like, man, that's good for us.
It would help validate the representation from G5, right? If they're a top seed, they got to buy and they win that quarterfinal game.
They earned it.
Everyone
no one can deny it.
Yeah.
I am glad it is what has been historically been a good G5 program that's doing this and not a Sun Belt team.
Louisiana.
Yeah, oh my God. That would just, or Jimmy Madison, or something like that. I was like, oh God, this is horrible. No, I'm actively rooting it. I can root for Boise State because I don't care about them at all. But I would not be able to root for a Sun Belt team other than Georgia State.
Do we get money though? Like, do all the schools from the representative conference get a shit ton of money to be in that slot?
I'm sure we get pennies, if anything, for us. I mean, like I
bet everybody involved in the CFP gets something. I bet they divvy out to like every conference that is like part of the CFP, like probably gets some share change.
Yeah, but it's not going to be. I'm sure it's not an even share. It's not like okay, you guys have. Yeah, you should get more if you go, but like it's not gonna be like there's 14 teams in this conference, there's 20 teams in this conference. We're gonna give them $2 million a school. No, it's not like that. It's the lion's share is going to the SEC and Big Ten, even if they had nobody in there at all, which would never happen.
We need to figure out what Boise and Gonzaga are doing because those are two. I mean, Gonzaga's not a mid-major team anymore, but they were at one point, and like they figured something out to be able to get to where they are. Boise State. Again, whatever, middling G5 team, but is always perennially at the top tier of the G5. Like,
yep.
I don't know, interview the hell out of both of those administrations, figure out what they do, mimic the shit out of it. Like,
and I think it's harder to do now. I think it's harder to do now because I think you get you hit lightning in a bottle with a good coach hire that comes in there and he's able to develop players and coach them up, and you get some decent wins and you just build upon that. Whereas now, I mean, a coach has a good year, they get poached for an assistant's job somewhere else, making twice as much money. So it's harder for that type of situation to happen. Doesn't mean it can't. It doesn't mean it won't happen again. I mean, UCF was actually garbage and found a way to turn themselves around, and now they're in the Big 12, which, I wish we would have started football when they did and kind of went on the same path. We have a whole different podcast if that was the case.
It does show that if you have the background, if you have some of the right tangibles for like what they're looking for, if you can prove it on the field for even a season and a half, whatever, a lot of you can get scooped up.
Yep.
Right.
Like UCF's not a perennial powerhouse, but they had a good year or two, and they got picked up.
Well, it's like now we say, from a G5 perspective, if you get a coaching hire that you're excited about, like we were excited about Coach McGee coming in here, we were excited about Coach Hayes in here, but back then on the day that at the press conference, you're like, if he's not gone in 5 years, then something went wrong. Because
five's a long time, actually.
Yeah, exactly. To be here for like 20 years, we're gonna be awesome. Like, no, if this guy is here for 5 years, then he's a Coach Elliott. He got by just enough to get the job done, to keep the AD happy, but never advanced to that next level, that next step. So I don't want to see my coaches here for 5 years, right?
Yep.
especially football. I think basketball's a little bit different because I think there's a little bit more parity in basketball. But even then, just because there's so many programs out there, but definitely football. 5 years is too long for a coach to be at a G5 program, unless they just somehow, some way, like it's their alma mater and that's their dream job, and they want to
take that too.
Yeah. So Nick Arbuckle, in what year is he going to be our head coach?
2025, when we win the national championship. No, he's going to run out from the sideline and he's got a surprise COVID year.
Grey Cup champion Nick Arbuckle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say that I remember playing Georgia playing Boise State in the Georgia Dome some years ago in the Power Ranger outfits. I really liked both of them, actually. They looked stupid on the mannequins. Theirs looked good on and off the mannequins, but like the Georgia one, everyone made fun of a lot. So Georgia lost that game though, and everyone was like surprised. And I remember coming out of that, I was frustrated that Georgia lost because I'm a Georgia fan, but I was also like, this is like the reason you let these guys come play, because like this can happen. This happens all the time, and like the opportunity for it to happen should be available, because that's why we watch sports. Like we like underdogs. We like this kind of stuff. So I don't know. I just don't understand why anybody would be upset about it.
Because their team got out, they didn't get in.
Well,
that's all it is. That's all it is. It's like
that's mostly It's all a popularity contest.
The butthurt people. Alabama's been good forever. They lost 3 games this season. They were not going to get into the top 4 teams if in the old system, not with the 3 losses. So
no. Well, that's the funny thing too. Like when they add all the extra teams in, the whole conversation was like, "Oh, you lost a game. You're on the verge. Like you can't lose again. That second game, you're out."
Lose a Vandy,
Right. I mean, like you shouldn't get in just because of that. But no, Vandy's great. What are you talking about?
I know. Vandy at a point was a quality loss for him. It was the Oklahoma that screwed him out of everything. Yeah. So, but oh well. But I may go to that Vandy Tech game. My Vandy buddy wants to go, and some Tech people want to go. So
I think that's cool. That's the matchup. I don't know. I'm just like, man, who like came up with that and are like,
and think about
who is their favorite Georgia State coach? I don't
it's regional too, which is great. Like
the location wise, Tech just hops on 20 straight over, and then Vandy comes straight down 65. It's a perfect matchup location. I love it.
Yeah,
it's fun.
And interesting programs that have like kind of traditionally not been very good, but are having like a pretty good year, and like we get to see like how they match up against each other, like having their build it like actually in their building, not just rebuilding,
And how long has it been since Vandy's made a bowl game?
Oh, I don't even know. Is it bad?
Yeah, probably the Jay Cutler years or something like that.
Now I'm curious. Let me see. Vanderbilt
bowl history.
Holy God, they're 0-9.
We have more bowl wins. We have more bowl wins than Vandy.
So didn't we play them in a? No, we played UC. Yeah, I say we. I'm sorry. I was talking about Georgia. My bad.
They're 0-9. The last time they were at a bowl was 2018 in the Texas Bowl, then 2016 Independence Bowl, 2014 the BBVA Compass Bowl.
That's more recent than I thought it was.
Yeah, they're not that bad. I mean, let's see, since 2010,
they would get some like weird like out of nowhere wins. Like they would beat Georgia on when Georgia's doing great, or they would beat Tennessee at the end of the season or something like that. They would get like this one signature win sometimes.
They're like us. They're every other 2012,
people overlook
2013, 2014, not 2015. They just alternated bowl, no bowl, bowl, no bowl. They're like us.
Well,
we won our games.
Yeah, we did win our game. We have more bowl wins than teams that have been playing at the bowl level for 40 plus years.
Which is astonishing.
So that's just that blows my mind away. Yeah. Yeah, but how long's Vandy been playing football? We have more bowl wins than them.
And see that's sort of where I think it's more interesting. Like that bit of information is more interesting. Like that ULM only has been to one bowl game ever, or whatever it is, and that Vandy has a worse record than we do, or whatever, in bowl games. Like that doesn't make any sense. That shows that like there's a problem in that system somewhere or another.
Right.
I mean, 134 years ago was their first season.
Wow. Vandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Bowl games. I'm looking at it myself now, too. I got to.
This is so. 1897.
When did bowls start?
A while ago.
We already have bowls?
That's weird. It says they're 4-4-1, but the other thing I found is they're 0-9.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. They are 1-2. They're 4-4-1. They tied Texas Tech in the Peach Bowl 6-6. A Ryan game right there.
Ooh.
In 1974.
I didn't know they had James Franklin. He's a good coach. It's Penn State, right? So
that's where they hired him from.
He got them two bowl wins.
That was that. There was like a number of years where like if you're following Georgia back then, like they were good throughout that, and he was always a really good coach. And then Penn State hired him up, and I respected him a whole lot until
that game.
Until he iced our kicker like a little bastard.
Yeah, James Franklin, 3 bowls in a row: 2011, 2012, and 2013, and won 2 of the 3.
Fun fact, David, also a piece of shit.
Yes, he is a huge piece of shit. Bad.
We should edit the Wikipedia and put that in there.
Yes.
There's like a bulleted list somewhere where he like his accomplishment is like, oh, he's a piece of shit.
One of my friends went to Penn
State.
One of my friends went to Penn State. I'm like, fuck your head coach. He's like, what? I'm like, he iced our kicker in a game that you were blanking us in. It's dick. It was Leaf's dick move.
Even they were like I had fans around me being like, what the fuck? Why do we do that to you?
It was, and the only reason was to protect the shutout. Protect the shutout. That's all it was.
They were trying to game the BCS system. Thought that they would
points.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. They were like, oh, if we score more points and allow them to have fewer points, then the algorithm will put us half a point higher or something.
Yeah, dick move.
Yeah,
dick move. Yeah. So,
but that's why you have the subjective thing. So on the ground, you can be like, "Oh man, I can tell Georgia State was blanked, even though they scored 3. But for real, they didn't score. Like,
right?
You know what I mean? Like that's why it makes sense to have like the eyeball test on this too.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah. I hated that too because I was up there and I had such a good time. I mean, it was like a beautiful driving in. I had awesome tailgate. Everybody was friendly. I thought the experience in the game was really cool. They like really organized a lot of it. They were using like an app for the like light show, and they were all trained up on all their all the cheers were in unison. Like it almost was like they practiced together. I guess they do every Saturday, but it was really cool. It was just a really good experience. Like I will always remember going to watch a game in Penn State, and then I'll remember how it ended too, with their head coach being a piece of shit.
Yeah, it was a good trip. I loved it. I thought it was great. Like good beers. Downtown was great. Scene was great. Tailgate was awesome. Like you said, the fans were really friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was back. I mean, it's still a case now, but like we're such low on their radar that they don't treat us like they would treat an Ohio State team coming in there or something like that. They're like, oh, we're so happy you made the trip. Can I get you something? Like, oh, just sweet, whatever.
Yeah, Tennessee fans were still pricks.
Yeah, they were.
Tennessee?
Even before we beat them. When we were up there, when we visited up there, we ran into people who were being like more people who were being assholes. There were of course friendly people. There was like that bar owner who just let us in, who was like, no cover, that's fine. But even people in there were being like tools, and it's like, come on, guys, like what are you doing here? Like you're Tennessee, you beat us, and then we came back and beat them. So
yeah, that's what they get for being dicks to us.
Maybe you should have been nicer.
That first year when we played Alabama, like they were so nice to us. I'm like, yeah, because you have no threat in the world from us at all.
I understand it's different when LSU rolls into town, but like they were very friendly. The most rude they were just like, where are you? Like, where is Georgia State?
Yeah, the Auburn fans 2 years ago, whatever that was, 3 years ago, the Auburn fans were not friendly. I did not have a good.
I thought after the game they were.
Well, yeah, because they were like, I can't believe that they reversed.
They were like, you won that game.
We talk about that. Who knows? It was only third down. They would have had another chance.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You never know, but you can't. Yeah. One of my friends, he's an Auburn fan.
But we can't know because it was a terrible call.
Mm-hmm. It was a terrible call, and then it gets replayed every year when they show like terrible calls on Twitter. That comes up every time. Every time.
Really bad.
Every year college football season comes around. Terrible calls, that one shows up. So
I remember the fans reacting as like that was like unraveling, and it's just like, yeah, like they were so confused because they were like, what we didn't watch that.
Because we had our little section, our little slice over there, and like when they announced that they were challenging the play or was under review or whatever it was, all the Auburn fans started like cheering and everything, and then the review goes up. And the entire stadium got quiet. And our section just exploded.
Right.
We were that one section was just as loud as the rest of the entire stadium was when we saw that. And then when they, overturned it or whatever, like I just remember seeing Auburn fans like just standing there clapping their hands, like
okay,
like golf clap and looking, turning to their buddies, and they're like, what the fuck was that?
This is good, but it doesn't feel right.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a good trip though. The fan base of the tailgates were not that great, but the rest of it was fun. It was fun.
I had a good time walking around there, though. I have a good time walking around all of them. Even South Carolina, which was like a gravel parking lot and a chain link fence, was, and I think one fan even wanted to fight us. But I still had a good time walking around there, just like kind of. Like we say hi, we poke and prod a little bit, but like it's all fun and games and like, laugh and cheers and see if we can drink their beer.
Check out some cockabooses.
Some good.
They have cockabooses. You know this? You didn't see the cockabooses?
I don't know what you're saying to me, but I'm glad we're on last call.
I wonder what they were too. It's just a caboose. They turned it into South Carolina Gamecock tailgating thing.
A cock caboose?
They call it a cockaboose.
A cock caboose.
Uh-huh.
Well, there's two good tailgating options for next year at Vandy and at Ole Miss.
What a good schedule. No,
I think Ole Miss is more likely for me now that I don't have a reason to go to Vandy. But man, I do like Nashville. Nashville's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, I wanted to do Vandy as like a bus trip like we did Auburn, but Nashville is so cool that people are going to want to stick around. Like they're going to make a weekend of the trip. So I don't know if I can get people just to go up there and come back same day.
We could do come back the next day.
Pay for the driver to have his room for the weekend.
Oh yeah. Find a sponsor. I don't know. Figure that out. We'll take that offline.
Yep. Probably good, aren't we?
Probably. Yeah. Feels right.
Yeah.
I need to go to bed. I told y'all I didn't sleep last night at all.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye y'all.
Talk to you next week.
Thanks for